My idea is if everyone felt more gratified with how productive they were every day, how great would that be? And if I could give you an extra half hour to either leave early or make money because you have an extra half hour of billable time, how satisfying would that be? If we have 1 hour to do a task, we'll do it in 1 hour. But if we have a day to do 2 tasks, it'll take us all day. So when we know what we're going to do with our time, we start to create a space to be able to actually do it. Because when we're clearer about what we want to do with that time, we'll create time for it. It's interesting when people get free time. In the beginning, when they've been working towards managing the activities that they do every day better, and they suddenly get a half-hour block, they go to the task list, figure out what they can do in 30 minutes, do that because they know what they need to be doing. They know what's coming. So they actually utilize the 30 minutes. What I meant when I was talking about behavioral changes versus the habits is behavioral changes are a little easier to adapt in the beginning. Habits are those things that we're often challenged at changing. They implement small behavioral changes, just writing the note on one task list instead of on a napkin. That's one behavioral change. You can make the habit come. It's the behavioral changes we need to implement. Really, we have to choose to make change because no one can tell us that we should change. It's just not right. We need to make those decisions within our own selves. This change has to come from in us. It can't be someone else telling us what we should be doing in business. Change is different by each person because of our personality styles. Our personality styles dictate a working style. How you choose to work is going to be very different from me. I'm a list maker. Not everyone's a list maker. 35% of the population tend to be list makers. So we're all very different. We have to keep that in mind when we're implementing strategies to help us be more productive or efficient or happier. That it's hard to get your inbox down to 0 if you're using a PDA for most of your business functionality. Most people on their PDA aren't doing the maintenance, they're doing the necessary functions, replying to that email, attaching a document, communicating with that person, but they're not doing the maintenance. The maintenance is the sort of thing that's easier to do when you're sitting in front of a computer, but actually making something work for one individual is so customized. My intention is to give everybody the opportunity to share with their peers and also evaluate of themselves all the actions, other than just dealing with clients, they do every day and every week to keep their business afloat and functioning. I find peers don't often have these conversations about all the things they do every day. It's important to know because each of those things that you do takes a moment of your time. Okay, so filling in a typical day is to give people the opportunity to start thinking realistically about how a day in their life looks, what sort of money they want to be generating, the tasks that are required of them, everything that goes in to make their business function. Because what they actually do in a week in their business, on top of all the stuff they do personally, it's a way to give people an opportunity to define where they're doing well and where they could actually introduce efficiencies so they could do better. So we can't manage time. We can't change it. Time management is really self-management. But we can manage the energy. When we're with clients, we show up and we have the energy and we give it our all. But it's all the other things when our energy is depleted. You don't want to be doing tasks that require keen thinking, quick turnaround of information. So it's managing your energy, knowing when you're high energy, when you're medium, and when you're low energy, and applying the tasks that match that energy flow. The 4x11 is a great quick cheat sheet because we have our task list, we have our calendar. Let's say we're totally set up. Things come in throughout the day. The phone will ring, you answer the phone, you realize you need to do something first thing tomorrow morning, must be done. When you use the 4x11, it allows you to get those must-dones done by 11 a.m. And if they're done, and then there's a next step, you schedule it in, you write it on the sheet. The best practices touch on 5 areas. The very first one is goals. and we talk about goals, I'm saying go that step further and write down the actions and the strategies and the actions that come out of each goal. So those things can then go into the calendar and into the task list. Review them and see if you're actually hitting the mark on what the goals are. So that's one of the best practices. One of the other best practices is to actually review what you say you want to be doing versus what you are doing. So the best practices are 5 tips where you can pull a piece from each. Pull one piece. I hope at least everyone gets one tip from them and implements it into their day-to-day life. What I'd really like people to get out of the presentation is an understanding that there's no quick fix to time management. And time management is really self-management. But it's not self-management from the aspect of you should go home and beat yourself up because the person beside you can manage their time better or better than you can. But to actually acknowledge where you do well. And the high-level picture is that you can get all of this under control. And absolutely some weeks are going to go off the rails, but when you have that core foundation, your business can go off the rails for a week and you can celebrate because lots of new clients, but you can bring it back on track 90% quicker than you ever have before because you know where everything is supposed to be set up. So the session itself gives people practical, applicable tools that they can customize or at least identify whether that suggestion will work in their life, in their business, and integrate it, hopefully effortlessly.